Oh man, oh man. Whew. Ah man, I was busy days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Biochemistry from damn near noon to 6. So I got home, made dinner, and played some League of Legends, watched some Handmaid's Tale to wife, and you know I didn't really feel like doing too much YouTube since I'd already uploaded a video yesterday. So you know what, we'll get back to it. So this is part 3 of Mr. Dragnauct and I from our life applications officer, Mr. D. Roy. So this should be enlightening, to say the least. I did see the other video that he uploaded where he and I part ways. I didn't know that we actually had met, much less conducted any serious conversation other than these fairly brief exchanges. So, uh, needless to say, there's a lot more that I have to say. And if he chooses not to make direct responses to me, then that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But there are still many, many things for us to kind of address as far as the content on his channel. So, you know what? Let's get to it, right? Let's see. The last one he did, you're going to want to review that one. Yeah, I'm going to get to that one. I'm definitely going to get... I just actually removed the notification from that one because I kept it on my phone to remind myself. But, yeah, I didn't really feel like doing one yesterday, so I'll do one today when I have a little bit more time. Actually, I might do it when I come home because I only have one class, and then for the rest of the day, I'm pretty much going to be just studying for an exam tomorrow. Biochemistry. So, I actually did watch this, believe it or not. The majority, I'd probably say, I scrubbed the video back to the beginning, but I got almost about 90%, 80, 90% done. A lot of stuff said in this video, and very weird. I mean, I can't even say weird tangents. Like he has this weird. I keep saying weird. This non-linear form of just stream of consciousness that makes no sense in anyone. Actually, something funny, folks. After listening to the majority of this video, I actually sent it to my mother, and I wanted to get her thoughts on it. And those of you who know, my mother is very, very Christian, but she's not retarded. So my mother says, after watching this video, she goes, sort of interesting. Yeah, he's ass hurt. But I did get a kick out of that clerk who kept referring to that transgender guy as sir. Saw that vid last weekend. That dude was pissed, LOL. So that's my almost 60-something-year-old mother commenting on social media. So, yes. My mother does not say butt hurt. She says ass hurt. For whatever reason, I don't know. Anyway, folks, let's get into this.
All right, Mr. Dragnauct. I'm going to get this done. And this all came from things that come out of your mouth that I'm responding to. A born-again Christian like myself has an answer for why this world is like it is. And
so this, and if you're wondering if I have two monitors, if you see me looking this way, I'm looking at my main monitor, and over here is a Streamlabs monitor where the camera is. So that's why it's weird that I'm looking at an odd angle, because the camera, this is dead on the camera, but this is me looking at the Streamlabs monitor, and this is me looking at my main monitor. So yeah, that's what happens when you have a short USB cable on the camera. Yeah. So okay, so he wants to address things that I've said. Now, mind you, when I typically make claims, I try to couch them in very, very specific terms, in very specific contexts, and instead of just generalizing. I don't like when other people offer vagaries. I don't like when people generalize. So I tend not to do that. And I see that it's kind of an issue when people are addressing the points that I make, and then they just kind of take it in the left field where it out of the context in which I refer to it. And spoiler alert, yeah, I did watch most of this video, so this is me kind of preempting a lot of you because hell, you guys see and hear what I'm saying and doing. So you know what? Raise your hand if you think at some point in time somebody missed my goddamn point. But you know, hey.
I know what the atheist community will say. They'll say, you think you have an answer. But after watching the conservative, matter of fact, I got a movie here going on the computer right now. After watching the conservative twins and the last two recent videos that they posted, oh my God. I wasn't going.
Okay, so I didn't think to look this up before. The conservative twins are the Hodge twins. I had no idea that they were conservative. I didn't know that he. That's interesting. I had no idea. I can see that this channel is much less popular than their main channel. Uh, yeah, because I'm subscribed to the main channel, and then their muscle channel is way more popular than that. I wonder why, but yeah, I'm actually a big fan of Hodge twins. Didn't know that they did conservative shit, but okay. Oh, the intro music, by the way, that's just a placeholder for me to go get coffee and wash my face and for y'all to get notification. There's a reason that it's exactly 7.5 minutes. I timed how long it takes for the first round of notification to go out. So then I can just, y'all don't miss much of anything. So it's just something for you to listen to while everyone else gets notification. So just kind of walk away during that. But yeah. Did not know that he and I are both fans of the Hodge twins. I don't watch conservative shit because I really don't care. A lot of them, I won't say all. There's socially conservative views that I typically don't agree with. So obviously I'm not. I don't partake in their media or their talking points or whatever. That's not that I'm not privy to them or aware of them. It's just I don't. There's nothing that I identify with there. So it's going to be interesting to hear, the same kind of talking points from Mr. D. Roy Cruz here.
I'm going to do this until tomorrow. I mean, it's already tomorrow. It's 2 something in the morning, but here in Pittsburgh. But I wasn't going to do this until tomorrow. And then while my video was doing its last minutes of loading, I watched the conservative twins. They showed me a video, or 2 videos actually, that explains how retarded and how evil and pagan everything that we've been talking about for 3 videos now, how it really is. These guys are not Christians. They're just a bunch of muscle boys who got life too easy going for them. They think everything's funny on a conservative, level.
Actually, I don't think that they got life going easy for them. They are actually funny. I disagree with their political views or their social views, I should say, but they don't really. Both of them were former Marines, so the things that they have that they've acquired, they've actually earned. Regardless if you agree or disagree with them, they've earned that. The fact that they both, are humorous and can, offer advice to people, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's political views, whether it's just, general advice. There's stuff that they work for. So I'm not sure how you came to that conclusion, but I just, let me speed them up. But I think this is just because you have a habit of just kind of, like offering these weird attributes to people that are just absolutely unfounded. I know a little bit about them because, well, I've been a fan of them for years before I really started doing this. So, I mean, if you knew a lot about the conservative twins and you're using them as a source of information, it might help to actually know a bit about them before saying stuff like that. But then again, that kind of tells me that when you watch stuff, you don't actually look into the stuff before you say anything. You just kind of say it because it sounds good at the time.
I swear to God, man.
Fair enough. There is no such thing as a former Marine. That is true.
Oh my God. I would never be anything else but a Christian. You gotta be out of your freaking mind, man. If you think that being a Christian is just another side of politics.
What?
Or if it's just a bunch of, as you put it in your video earlier, what do you call that thing?
political now? Really?
Conspiracy theorists.
What? Hold on. What?
Getting way out of hand with it. Kiss my behind, man. It's bigger than that.
Wait, what?
When these guys...
Hold on. Wait. So being a Christian is now a political position? I would have never known. I thought it being a Christian was theological in nature or something. I know that there are Christians who are conservative, but that's just by virtue of their Christian beliefs. It just so happens to align with the current incarnation of conservative values and all that whatnot and everything and whatnot. But my reference to conspiracy theories is you mentioning the freaking Illuminati. What does that have to do with you cannot adhere to these? Shouldn't say adhere. I just woke up, folks. You should espousing these conspiracy theories isn't like a requirement of being a Christian. That I'm not sure how, you just combine a whole bunch of random stuff into one. Like we're talking about Judeo-Christian beliefs, and you go off and talking about Illuminati and transient and then political stuff. Like everything is just all meshed up into one. And this is like the problem. So we've jumped from topic to topic because you don't know enough about one topic to stay on it. So you have to jump from topic to topic to topic to try and make it fit. Being a Christian isn't a political affiliation. That's a religious affiliation. That's why when you see forms, they separate them. When you fill out social media, bios, they're separate things. You can be a Democrat and be a Christian. You can be a Republican and be a Christian. That's not a political affiliation. What are you talking about? But being a Christian isn't a freaking requirement to believe in a conspiracy. What are you saying? None of this makes sense at all. It's not even 5 minutes in the video and you just going off the rails.
Post videos up like this. They think it's funny to them, but they understand how retarded it is, but they don't understand just how evil it is because they don't understand. Of course, on the one video, when they did one about the sex offender, they gnash your teeth a little bit when they explain these are our kids that are being indoctrinated with this stuff.
Oh.
And you can't be on one side and say, well, I don't believe in the transgender bathroom thing, but I'm okay with people in their whole transgender thing. I'm going to do this. Look here, mister. After watching that garbage, I'm going to do this and be done with you, okay? He just showed 2 videos, which reminded me of another video he did, and it never crossed my mind. I can't believe it. Never crossed my mind earlier when we were going back and forth. But Mr. Dragnauct, he showed a video of a young, small child. Had to be probably, I think, 10, 11, 12 years old, somewhere in there. Getting into drag. And so when they started the video, you figure, okay, this is just cute kids having fun. Man, get out of here, okay? But then he showed the clip of the kid explaining how he got into this. And then he showed another clip. They're twins. Showed another clip of a kid, I don't know if that was a bar or what it was, but a small child getting money thrown at him. Getting money thrown at him by these gay men while he's dressed up in drag. Any atheist that can't read between the lines here can go to hell.
Okay, finally, it took you all of 2 minutes to tell us that there's a video somewhere where someone dressed up their young child in drag and that they're adults being inappropriate. That took me all of literally 10 seconds to say. So even with you sped up, I said it faster. I mean, that's okay. So just on a basic point, yeah, there are people who are so balls deep into trying to be, I guess, progressive and trying to be inclusive and all this other kind of stuff that they go way too fucking far. As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine, Emperor Atheist, expressed the same dismay And you know, he got some backlash, mostly because he didn't articulate it in a way that came across as him being upset that children are being exposed to hypersexual scenarios. But that was the thesis of what he was trying to say, and most people agree with him. There's limits to that kind of thing. No one's going to sit here and pretend like, oh, well, you know what? You know, your kid needs to go to a strip club or a drag show and have money thrown at them or be around very, very adult situations. So, again, that's not anything that I promoted nor even implied to promote in any way, shape, or form. I'm not sure what that has to do with transgender bathrooms, but it just seems like you just kind of throw everything in there because it's all the same, and there's no, you know, there's not a kind of a scale or a gradient to kind of what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, and then this is part of the problem. Again, whatever it is that you're referring to, I think I know what you're referring to. That's inappropriate. People telling their kids to actually go through this kind of stuff, or encouraging their kids to go dress up like that, and then have adults that they don't know just throwing money at them. That's out of pocket for me. That is kind of where one of my lines are with that. It's like, okay, it's cool. Kids want to play dress up, you know, whatever. Just like you play dress up. That's something completely different. But what you're talking about seems to be so far left field that we need to kind of say, all right, there's limits to this shit.
Then he showed a clip, and this is where it gets out of hand, and this is why it doesn't only, us Christians aren't the only ones supposedly butthurt about this crap. But these transgender people themselves are going to cause a lot of problems. This guy goes into a local GameStop. Here's the titles. The first video I watched, well, this is the one that really pissed me off. Here, this is a brand new video. Just came out, I guess, today with these guys. Child sex offender is allowed to read at drag queen story time in Houston. Houston. That's right around freaking Dragnauct. Obviously, that's why you're so twisted in your thinking, man, because you're indoctrinated into this stuff. Okay?
So, actually, if you want to look up where that took place and where I live, that's actually outside the Beltway. I don't live in Houston proper. Yeah, if you actually go to Houston, there's a large transgender population in center Houston or near center Houston. There's no transgender anything really, other than at the college every so often they might have a seminar or a talks about trans or LGBTQ stuff. Again, this is kind of you get like presuming a lot about my environment. If you want to know specifically where I live in Clear Lake City. All right, you can go look this up. What you're talking about, I heard about that and I went and looked it up. That was an outreach that was supposed to be done, and somebody dropped the ball with checking who the guests were. Someone really dropped the ball on that, and the mayor took a hit because you know what? Trying to be inclusive, trying to be progressive, that's all fine and dandy, but they did not perform the proper background checks on some of the participants. And guess what? One of them, should not be around children in any way, shape, or form. So it is what it is. So, you know, if he thinks Houston is bad, try Las Vegas. Right. I see this conflation starting to happen with trans folks and pedophiles because the narrative is there. It's already there, and he's just knocking at the door, and that's not a fair comparison. If you're going to criticize folks about organizations or movements with pedophiles, we got a pretty big Christian one that I think you're going to mention later. But we're going to see if you cast the same aspersions towards some of your Christian brethren and sisters as you're doing here. So, but we'll see. We'll see how objective you are in that, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
That was the one that I didn't even watch the whole video before I realized I want to get this done tonight, okay? And the one I watched before that was transgender gets mad at GameStop employee for calling him a man. The only thing girly on this guy was he had his hair done in a girly fashion.
That was actually pretty funny. I watched that.
But he looked like a guy. He looked like a gay dude. He looked like a dude. He looked like a dude who was trying to be queer, but he sucked at it.
Some people
and it
can't
was,
transition.
I think, a lady. No, it was a guy. who recognize him as a guy. And then I'm going to get to my yellow pages here, but in our last argument, you tried to say that, well, Mr. Cruz, you're mixing transgenderism with all these other things. You know, you make jokes and try to show me scrutiny about me using the fact that I was taught as a child how to run from LGBTQ. As a child, even though there were homosexuals all around me, I was taught by the few people in my life that knew better, and everybody respected them for it, including the LGBT people. Okay, back in them days, LGBTQ people respected those that were godly and straight because they knew the difference. And it wasn't
all these LPGPTEPTQ. Like, come the fuck on, man. Look, I'm pretty sure that the folks that you're othering, the folks that you're trying to make a second-class citizen, don't respect the fact that y'all are ostracizing them and treating them different than everyone else. That, like, I love how you like to speak for other people. You love to speak for other people about them respecting your really bigoted and intolerant views of them. I love this. I love this all day long. I love it. I love it. That's, oh man, them black folks knew back in the day that when they saw somebody white crossing the street, they would have stand there with their eyes down and make sure they don't make eye contact. That's how I used to be in a good old day. Like, that's how you fucking sound. That's literally how you fucking sound. This same type of weird, just all these anachronistic fucking concepts that you have in your mind that you can't justify. Just this outrageous rage. That, like, I can't live like that, my man. I can't. I'd rather just treat people like fucking people instead of having all these categories and echelons of who is supposed to, like, look, you don't live at the top of no fucking food chain here, all right? That's the fucking truth. You can barely talk about half these fucking topics without going on a goddamn tangent, nor do you know any actual research behind any of the stuff that you're fucking saying. And just the other day, in the other video, I had to fucking correct you on the uses of shit that you were trying to say. On several points. On several fucking points. So before you start trying to speak for other people, you should probably first, and this is just from brother to brother, try to learn how to speak some goddamn English first. Let's get that down packed before you start trying to use all these little bit of words here and there and trying to stretch your tiny lexicon that you got going on here by trying to use that for somebody else and what they think and what they believe and what they feel. You can barely articulate your fucking self, man. Stop trying to put what you think other people are thinking and saying on here. You focus on you right now. I think that's the biggest fucking problem here. And this is not just you. It's not just you. It's a lot of older black guys, I don't know what it is, and some women too, have this fucking problem. Got a little bit of education, just a tiny bit after fucking high school, but boy, they got all that life experience from this one or two states that they've been living in for 20 and 30 years, and they know every goddamn thing in the world. Everything. But can't fucking spell half the words they trying to fucking use. Malaprops here and here and here and here and here and here and here. Don't even fucking know what that is. But then gonna tell me, well, look here, youngster, you ain't been around. I've been doing a little bit more than you think in my life. I've been doing quite a bit more than you think. But I've been slowly paying attention to this shit growing up. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be like that when I grow up. I'm going to actually educate myself. If I have a problem with a group of people, instead of just believing the one or two people I surround myself with, or people at work who kiss my ass and think that, oh, you know, we're all, you know, we're brother, you know, we think alike, and surround people with similar ideas, I'm going to put myself in a position where I'm around people I disagree with and learn about that before I start trying to cast aspersions towards everything that I think I don't like. That's the problem. That's a huge problem. It ain't just you. It's not just you. It's a lot of people like that. They surround themselves with folks they agree with to get all that affirmation, but they don't know shit. Not a goddamn thing. And they get in the habit of being around these folks, and they just jump from topic to topic to topic to topic because they don't know enough about one topic to stay on it for any length of time. I'm guessing that's why we've jumped from conspiracy theories to religion to politics all within the same fucking sentence over and over and over again. That's why you've run out of steam. So I hate to mention it again, but that's what it is.
It wasn't a political difference. They understood that it's a spiritual difference. Because they understood that if they're having a problem, or if they see the sun rising where it does not rise, or they see, you know,
What?
the moon coming in its natural place, okay, at its natural scheduled time, okay, but they don't see that. They understood that, hold up, let these Christians do the right thing. We're okay with Christians doing the right thing. Just like everybody got mad at Bruce Jenner because Bruce Jenner said, hold up, transgenderism is my thing, not our thing. Transgenderism is what I've chosen to do. It has nothing to do with the statutes of marriage. Marriage is still between a man, not a transgender man, a man, and a woman, not a transgender woman. Even Bruce Jenner said that. Okay?
Well, luckily, Bruce Jenner don't get to speak for all trans folks. So tell me something, Mr. D-Roy, why you have this indignant ass look on your face. Who gets to speak for all black folks? When you let me know who the King Negro is, then I need to start paying my dues, because that person then was elected to speak for me. Are you out your goddamn mind? Just think about that for a fucking second. I'm being funny, but this is just fucking stupid. Like, there's a point where, okay, I can entertain this, but there's another point where it's just you just saying stupid shit now. Just absolutely stupid shit. Who gets to speak for an entire group of people? I want you to write down the motherfucker's name who gets to speak for you in any case. So if I don't have to defer to you, I can defer to that person. If not a person is alive, that is this like swaths of people, everybody's elected this person to speak for them, then I don't want to hear that. There is no one white person that I can go talk to that speaks for all white people. There is no one super gay dude that speaks for all, tops, or one super gay dude that speaks for all bottoms. That's not a thing, okay? That's not a thing. So I don't know why all of a sudden you think that Bruce Jenner, as Rand Campbell calls her, speaks for all trans folks, because Bruce does not at all.
And then he turned around and he said, you know what, I want to go back. That's what they say. I want to go back. I want to transition back. Okay? Y'all killing me.
Caitlyn, not Bruce.
I'm going to get this
Caitlyn.
done. We need to have the Crusades. It's funny how I stopped right before I got to talk about the Crusades here. We need to have the freaking Crusades come back. And our next civil war needs to be with this LGBTQ situation. We need to go on a civil war with them. The Crusaders need to come back. You want to criticize Christians? Oh, well, Crusade. You know what? The Crusades need to come back. What? And those of you that don't want to die, maybe you need to be taken as slaves. See, this is where G-Man screwed up with Matt Dillahunty. Matt Dillahunty thinks that slavery is a crime. No, it's not. If slavery is a crime, then putting people in prison is a crime.
Wait a minute, hold on a minute.
If slavery is a crime, you having a boss over you, charging you taxes, taking taxes out of your check, is a crime.
Time out.
You give 8 hours of your day to your boss. Your boss tells you he don't give a rat's behind about what you got going at home. You signed up for this. You live it. And just like Dillahunty read to G-Man out of a Bible, out of his own mouth, this slave signed up for this.
So, yes, folks. Yes, he went there. Not only do we need another war, I love motherfuckers who ain't about that life, that love war, but we need another civil war, and it needs to be like spawned from the Crusades. We need to go and make sure all these other religious groups are not over here proliferating and whatnot and everything and whatnot. People need to be taken as slaves. That, folks, if people are wondering why I don't do religion, there you go. Shit like that. Nope, not today. Wow. Yes, he just said that. Yes, he just endorsed the good old, the best like whipping boy in a conversation for any like new atheist is to bring up the Crusades and good old fashioned Catholicism. Wow, we need to bring back the Crusades. Yeah. Yep. So there's a little bit of G-Man in him, by the way. Here, did y'all notice that when he brings up slavery and Matt Dillahunty, he also conflates figurative slavery and like actual slavery? Like, because he literally just conflated being a wage slave and being a chattel slave, because to him they're the same thing. I mean, that's, hey, There's there's no gradient here. There's no, sliding scale. They're the exact same thing because you know what, everyone's retarded. Just let that soak in for a minute, folks. There's really nothing I can say about that other than this is why people need to go to school and fucking stay in school. This is sad. This is absolutely fucking pathetic. If he thinks that they are exactly the same, he needs to go pick up a dictionary and go do some motherfucking reading. Because they are not the same in any way, shape, or form. Figurative, literal. Literal, figurative. There's a separation for a reason. Someone being forced into being a sex slave is not the same thing as someone who is forced to pay taxes on a house that they buy. Someone being forced to pay property tax that they agreed to when they purchased the goddamn house is not the same as someone being a chattel slave for the rest of their life. No, they are not the same. Because the word slave is in it, doesn't mean that they are the same. There are concepts that are similar as doing something that one doesn't necessarily want to do. But then being able to remove oneself from that scenario makes it the big difference. Big difference. You don't have clauses. You can't file slave bankruptcy and get out of being a chattel slave. It's a huge difference. That's kind of why being a slave has that negative connotation. But you take that away when it's just, everything's the same. But then again, what's scary, folks, is I don't know if y'all remember, this guy's a pastor, evidently. He's over here preaching this shit to people, and they're just eating it up. But something tells me that for younger folks kind of go, I do remember the difference between literal and figurative in my 12 years of free education. So, no, I don't think I'm going to go with that. I don't see too many younger folks who are at least somewhat educated falling for this nonsense because it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I would love you just make a complete video where you sit down and you elucidate why figurative and literal are exactly the same when they're not. So that's fine. I'll wait for that one.
How does a slave have a wife while he's a slave? Dylan, honey. How does a slave get to make choices if he's such a slave? That's biblical, nasty, stinking slavery for you. Well, what I'd like to do is the Crusades to come back. Let's go take down the tough guys and all the sissies. We'll make slaves out of them.
You'll make slaves
so we
out
don't
of
mess
sissies.
up their delicate skin. Kiss my behind, man, with this transgender garbage. Anytime you put a goddamn child on a stage and let a bunch of gay men throw money at him.
Oh, he's mad. Bring back bad memories? I've already said that's inappropriate. I'm pretty sure most of us here would agree that that's inappropriate. What you just described is inappropriate. But you notice that that's a fixture of the transgender movement now. Like, that's something he attributes. So if a Christian who goes nuts and just starts shooting people because, God and Jesus, should that be a fixture of Christianity? Because he's pretty good at separating folks who aren't in his group that don't make, his ideology and his perspective look that great. But he is fine with taking some of the worst examples and whatever he's having an issue with and saying, well, no, that's definitely a part of it. Really? So I'll tell you what, we're going to include every Christian pedophile. We're going to include every mass shooter or somebody who does whatever, heinous act. And that's a part of your ideology now. So no one should adopt your ideology. You see how that works? You see how cool that is, being able to just kind of poison the entire ideology based on extremism? Do you think that that's fair? Do you think that picking the worst examples in any group as being emblematic of that group is the, intellectually proper thing to do here? Because if so, I can do it all day. But I don't think that bothers you too much because evidently wanton slaughter is something that you don't mind too much. But something tells me that you never put on a uniform in your goddamn life. People who have typically don't want that sort of thing for anybody because they understand what it actually means to try and put yourself in that position. What it means to ready yourself for war. Some of us have actually experienced it. and don't want that for other people. But it's easy to sit behind a computer screen and say stuff like that and be inflammatory and be excited and say, we're ready for this. You ain't about that life. You're not.
That shit is disturbing, man. It really is.
There's a lot that's
Meanwhile,
disturbing.
you got all these superstars and that. You know what I mean? Woohoo, 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 bravo, bravo. They never once sat down and just like, what did you just do? Just say it to yourself. Because there's no way to even explain what you just signed up for without it sounding disgusting.
What are you talking about?
I'm really pissed to be talking to an atheist about this. Because y'all sing, and this is my problem with atheists. They have excuses for everything. It'd be different if the only thing you cared about was atheism. This is my problem with you people.
So, hold on for a second. Now, I heard this bit of stupid, and I think I was walking to my lecture, or I think I was trying to go find a burger or something. I don't remember. Now, think about what you just said, Mr. Cruz. If the only thing you cared about was atheism. So as a Christian, is the only thing you care about Christian? Oh, wait, no, because you've already brought up politics. So you care about something other than just being a Christian. Well, okay, other than politics, that's all you really care, is just being a Christian and politics, right? Oh, no, you care about social issues now. The transgenderism and the indoctrination. So you care about those things. So you mean that as a Christian, you're allowed to have other interests and talk about other things? That's so interesting, Mr. Cruz. It's almost like every human being is entitled to care about whatever the fuck they want to talk about. You really should take some time and really think about the stupid shit that you say. You really, really take some fucking time. Really take some time. Talking about atheist stuff takes up less than 1% of my actual day. Most of the time I'm talking about fucking science. I'm talking about video games or anime or TV shows or social issues. The only thing atheists care about is atheists. Why is that a problem? Am I not entitled to talk about social issues too? Am I not entitled to talk about politics too? This is your problem. Again, you had this really myopic view of how other people should live. How about this? Instead of you trying to prescribe people to stay in their goddamn lane, how about you stay in yours? If you can barely pronounce the words to articulate an argument for a position, then how about you don't even take a position on it? How about you don't even fucking talk about it? If we're going to start doing that, Mr. Cruz, how about you stay in your goddamn lane? How about that? How about that? I'm not really watching anything right now. I'm waiting for My Hero Academia to start back up. Because that to me is ridiculous for you to say. Who are you to tell somebody where they need to, or what they need to talk about, or what kind of avenue that they need to go into? As far as their interests, as far as what I wouldn't presume to tell somebody that. But since that's something you'd like to do, you've opened that door, sure. How about you talk about staying on the fucking corner and complaining about how the world's changing? Because that really seems like that's all you're fucking doing, in all honesty. That really, because you don't come across as the type of guy to actually educate himself in a lot of these things. If you got an issue with transgender stuff, how about you actually learn about it? Instead of just watching a YouTube video and that's your form of education. I'm sorry. If YouTube is your main source of education, I don't want to talk to you about shit. Because obviously you don't have sense enough to go do some reading. You don't have sense enough to go and actually talk to some of the people in these positions, whether it be political or social. You don't actually put yourself in a position to fully educate yourself on your opposition. Because YouTube is easy. It's easy to sit and talk about YouTube and watch a freaking 5-minute YouTube video and then become an expert on something, right? Really? So no, you stay in your goddamn lane. And then you let the adults talk about stuff that they've at least been half informed on. That's a huge, huge issue. Surrounding yourself with the same fucking people that have all the interests in the world, but for some strange reason, all those interests just seem to revolve around things that you already agree with. Now, you tell me how you learn and grow as a person by doing that. If everyone around you has the same educational level, they believe the same things and they're espousing the same views, how do you as a person expand your motherfucking knowledge? That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. You stay in your goddamn lane. All right?
Are the defenders of everything evil. As long as people don't do evil to you and your wife and your kid. What are these Christians complaining about? Cruz, I think you're just too much up on the transgender. I just think you're just worried about other people too much. You ain't minding your own business. I'm an American. It is my business. My name ain't random, Yoto. I'm from America. We got people over in Japan wishing they could have a president like Donald Trump. And then when they see this garbage, they say, well, I hope Donald Trump, I hope he's going to do something about that. We don't want that over here in Japan.
So now you speak for Japanese people. That's cool. Awesome. Were these people from the Shibuya district, or were they from Shinjuku? Where were they from exactly? What prefecture were these people from exactly? Do you know anything about? Oh, what, you're just pulling shit out your ass again? Okay, awesome.
We have yet to have a Christian president. Don't tell me that when has an atheist been able? Atheists don't need to do nothing but get right with God. We don't need an atheist president. We already got a Muslim president. We already had a Muslim president. And what did he do?
Actually, he dropped the ball on a lot of trans issues. If you look at Obama's platform, because a lot of the stuff, especially his foreign policies, were neocon in nature. That's almost an inarguable point. If you actually look at the stuff that he did for trans people, it was after some of his constituents reminded him of campaign promises, because he had almost completely ignored LGBTQ folks for 2.5 years at least, and then kind of sort of talk about black issues in his first term. Then in the second term, we're going to end on a high note. Let's get some transgender, or get some LGBTQ, I should say, protections against discrimination. It was an afterthought for him. He's not really big on trans issues or gay issues. That Obama is a likable guy, but that's not it was never his priority. So the little stuff that he did after the fact, after people kind of pressed him on it, that was something because of pressure, right? I don't think that he did that out the kindness of his heart. So, again, you look at some of his positions on a political scale and actually take some time and pull your head out your ass instead of just believing propaganda, you'll see that he probably aligns with a lot of your views, whether you believe it or not. Just because he ran as a Democrat doesn't mean that he couldn't use neocon policies, especially foreign policy, drones, that, somehow he's locked in to only certain avenues to, be a president. But hey, so he's an American, so he can speak his mind. Drag American to my fuggle. You go on. Okay, anyway. Isn't this a moron that supports Trump, yet he thinks Trump is either Muslim or gay? Also hates gay. He's confused. Very confused. That's what I said, Dookie boy. Oh, he's here. If you're going to speed me up, then listen. If you would speak at a regular pace, then maybe I wouldn't have to speed you up. I'm just saying. I think I'm at 1.5. Yeah, I'm at 1.5 speed now. So I'm just saying. Token gestures. Yeah. Politics 101. Yeah, I don't think that he's big on trans and gay issues at all. He came around on the gay marriage after old Joe backed him in the corner in an interview. Yeah, I don't. Him doing that stuff was an afterthought. I'll be nice. I don't think he gives a shit about LGBTQ. Just to be honest, I don't think Obama actually did. Hence why I really didn't vote for him the second time around. Whoops.
This is all his doing.
It's all his doing.
He gave them a piece of rope and they ran with it.
Wait, did you actually, so here, Mr. Cruz is here. So let's play a game, Mr. Cruz. What legislation did Obama actually give LGBTQ people? I want you to tell me what he actually did, because I actually do know. And I've kind of referenced it just now. Again, you can look at my screen. I don't have anything up here. I don't have any notes. That's what my screen looks like. I want you to tell me, Mr. Cruz, what did Obama actually do as far as protecting LGBTQ folks and giving them something? What about a live cone? I don't know what you mean by that. What do you know about Obama's policy doing that? Because now we're going from social issues, the politics and religion. We're all over the place here again in another video for some strange reason. So
Christians in the Crusades.
now we're back with the Crusades.
Were not Christian; they were Catholic. Big 90.
So now he's. About like, I'm not sure what you mean. I have no idea how to say your name. It looks Russian or something, but I know that's not Cyrillic. I'm just being funny. So now we've gone from politics. Now we're back on Crusades, and you were endorsing the Crusades, but we need this. Weird. We need to bring back the Crusades, and that's as a solution for what you see wrong in the world. Wanton slaughter of people who don't possess the same ideology as you is a solution. That's scary, for one. Two, now you don't accept them as Christian. So why are you adopting supposedly non-Christian ideals here? Which is weird for something you just endorsed. This is what I'm talking about here. This is exactly what I'm fucking talking about. You just saying stuff. Because now you have to backpedal on what you're saying. Well, no, they're not Christian. Then why are you adopting non-Christian? Oh, that sounds like you're of the world. Because if it's not Christian, then what is it? Right? Because there's Christian things, right? There are holy things that are of Christ. And then there are not holy things that are not of Christ. But you're now endorsing something that's not of Christ. What does that make you, Mr. Cruz? If it's not Christian. You can't have it both ways. That's not how that works. Even I know that. You drew a huge distinction along with other Christians on things that are of Christ and things that are not. And here you are acknowledging that that's not of Christ, which is fine, but you endorse it. How does that make you any better than the people that you criticize? Exactly. Please wrap your mind around that. Take as much time as you need.
99% difference. Okay? However, we Christians commend the Vatican for standing up to violent Islam. And I understand that Islam is not all just terrorism. I understand there are good Muslims out there. Truth is, the good Muslims are the slaves of the bad ones. And the problem with terrorism is the good Muslims help the bad ones that end up being terrorists migrate to this country. And these knuckleheads get on national television and argue with people like Bridget Gabriel.
So let me just pause. So if there are people who are complicit in terrorism, that doesn't make them good people. Just like someone who's complicit in murder or rape doesn't make them good people, right? That's not how that works. The good Muslims that you should be acknowledging are actually the last few years, there have been Muslims in mosques who have reported other Muslims who have migrated from Pakistan, the ones that you're talking about, and those Muslims reported them to the police, to the FBI. You can go look this up. And they've actually foiled potential plots because the Muslims in the mosque said, you know what, this dude is a jihadist. He needs to go. If you want to mention good Muslims, mention those. Why are you mentioning the ones that are complicit in the act? That makes no sense, right? That makes absolutely no sense. But then again, this is your weird world that you live in where, for some reason, stuff that doesn't fit your narrative somehow just doesn't exist.
Her name is like my daughter's. It's spelled different. It's Bridget Gabriel. Their names are just spelled different. Okay?
Oh, my God. Here we go.
And this woman is clearly a terrorist right smack in New York in our country, trying to dumb down every Republican and conservative.
Now here we go, politics. So remember, I asked Mr. Cruz a question since he felt so strongly about Obama and what he did for LGBTQ people, as he likes to say. And I'm still waiting on a response. I haven't heard anything yet. Probably not going to hear anything. That's fine. But this is one of the points that I make. People love to say these things without ever actually looking up anything. They don't want to actually do research and back the stuff that they're saying with some actual evidence. It's easy to sit in your kitchen and just make shit up and just to generalize and say stuff. It's harder to actually take time and do research and then get in front of a camera and then tell people, here's the deal, here's how to reference, here's what I'm referencing, here's how to find it.
And you say anything about terrorism or open up any secrets, she'll dumb you down in 2 seconds. But atheists, and these social justice warriors and these Black Lives Matter and all these different groups out here, they just laugh at this stuff. I had a guy from Black Lives Matter stop me downtown Pittsburgh, and he said to me, he says, "You worried about terrorism? You need to worry about me." You're right, I need to worry about you. Because just like these atheists, y'all justify everything. As long as don't nothing touch your black skin, you're okay with it. I don't serve a black chief.
So I love these little anecdotes of him interacting with other people. Do any of y'all find it strange that he tells you what happened in medias res? Like it's in the middle of the actual story or near the end, he tells you what happens, or he'll describe an event. That's kind of, when people are doing that, when like in real life, when I hear stories, that always sets off a red flag, because they always leave out how the conversation started. If y'all want to know some of the red flags that I have with people that I meet, them telling me stories about stuff that's happened to them in the middle of the story or near the end, and not mentioning how they actually initiated the conversation, because usually they antagonize somebody and they don't want you to know that. Usually I find that out after asking some questions. Oh yeah, well I saw these guys and I walked up to him and I started talking to him and telling him he's wrong. Oh, so you went up and accosted someone, and then you're mad when they reacted because you randomly accosted them. Okay, that's so strange. Again, not a huge fan of Black Lives Matter myself, but at least let's tell the whole truth and not just the parts that we think people want to hear, right? I've noticed that Mr. Cruz has a habit of doing that. And again, that sets off red flags for me. Telling me what happened in the middle of the story and then stopping it once you finish the part that's good for your narrative doesn't tell me how that whole thing transpired. Because you have no problem spinning a yarn about your daughter and how many daughters your daughter has, and then, well, she's actually cousin second removed, and then she lives across town with Day Day and them, and then they went to the carnival last week and they got some popcorn, but the popcorn wasn't good because they liked the sweet popcorn. Then they got on the ride and then they came back home and then she was sick, and then because they were sick we couldn't go to church, and everybody from church said, "Oh man, why where she at?" "Oh, because she ate the popcorn." "Oh yeah, y'all went to the fair too." And then you have no problem talking about nothing at all and going on at length about it. But I'll be damned if you actually give me the whole story on this anecdote that's so important in your narrative. Just little things, Mr. Cruz, and you'll realize when I do videos about G-Man, I'm always analyzing the things that he's saying, how many times he's blinking, when he's everything. I'm looking at everything. It may not look like it because I have two screens up here, but I'm examining everything. I'm hearing your speech pattern. Everything I'm analyzing. That's what I was trained to do. So by no means am I psychic. I just pick up on stuff. And you know what? I may or may not be right, may or may not be wrong. And you know what? Take everything what I say with a grain of salt. But I find things interesting. And I wait, because you know what? I am open to being criticized and being wrong. I'm not beyond reproach. But I'd be damned if you give me a whole story about one of these anecdotes that have something to do with the narrative that you're trying to tell me. That just meanders in and out of politics and religion and social issues and literally everything else. I can't wait to hear about the in-ground swimming pool that you may or may not tell us about later on in some other video that has nothing to do with nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Jesus. I serve a Jewish Jesus. Okay? Sorry,
Yay,
black
Jews.
people. He wasn't black. Okay?
I love juice.
Publicity equals indoctrination is what I try to explain to you. And these conservative...
Publicity equals indoctrination. Okay, sir, again, I'm not sure how many times I got to explain this. So let me actually pull up the definition of indoctrination. Just so we can... Because I really don't care about your opinion when it comes to indoctrination. What you think it is isn't the case here. And that's not what's being argued over. That's not what's being discussed here, is what you think it is. It's what it actually is. What Mr. D. Roy Cruz believes something to be seems to be different from what it actually is. So here we go, Mr. Cruz. My fancy equipment that I have here, okay? Now let's take a look at that. Indoctrination, the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically, okay? That's the actual definition. Now, you think about what you just said. Think about what you just said. Now, I'm going to keep this up here And let's keep this definition in mind, and just let's hear you out.
Conservative twins just said it. When you let a child sex offender out of prison so he can read at the drag queen story time in Houston, reminds me of when they chose Barabbas over Jesus. Give us Barabbas. Take Jesus. Crucify him. Please separate hatred towards gays from opposition towards gays. It's two totally different things. Okay?
I don't think I said that you hate gays. I don't remember saying that. And because I typically don't use the word hate in the context of other people hating unless they've actually said it or they've expressed some form of violence or something like that. I'm pretty guarded with certain words like that, but let me let you continue to give again. I need some context to what I actually said here, because something tells me that you took something I said out of context and just ran with it.
It's easy for you and all these liberals to claim that everybody that don't want to be gay or think that they're, so heterosexual that they could never be gay, okay, or think that there's an issue, of any kind.
Right, or the people who think that they're so heterosexual that they could never be gay. I know some people's sexuality is fluid, changing, that sort of thing, but I'm pretty sure I know quite a few dudes who are too straight to be gay. I'm pretty sure their sexuality or orientation are locked in there, and it's been locked in there. It's gonna stay locked in there. So,
and no matter what happens, if you have any issues about this community, this religion, okay, you're a hater. Well, okay.
Okay, so no context then.
You hate yourself. So you want everybody to kiss your behind because you hate yourself, because you know you're not right. You know that you can dumb down the Bible all you want to. You can dumb down Christians all you want to. You can dumb down Muslims all you want to. You can dumb down everybody all you want to that's opposed to you. You will never feel moral about your sexual orientation as long as you remain in this pagan religion.
Pagan religion?
How to spot a homosexual? I agree. That was a dumb clip. You know how you spot a homosexual? When a dude wants to, and this is why the people that are fighting for this, they had to put all y'all in one group. You want to hate on us, but they put y'all in one group. LGBTQ. They put you in one classification. Now you want to argue that you can't mix transgender issues with gay issues and bisexual issues and blah blah. Yes, you can. Your government or whoever's responsible, they ain't Christians. Okay, they put y'all in that same. They put all y'all in that same category. They should have added A for atheist, LAGTBQ, because to me, nobody in this entire galaxy, entire world, justifies everything evil.
Okay, Mr. Crew, you seem to be kind of confused yet again. It's pretty simple. LTBGDPTK Crews. No. Jesse Lee Peterson speaks for black people. That has literally got to be the dumbest thing I've heard you say yet, or seen you say, Mr. Cruz. No. No. I'm sorry. He does not speak for me. I'm sorry. I'm actually somewhat educated. But, wow. Okay. So, LGBTQ. I'm not even sure why I'm speaking for folk. I don't fall in any of those categories, but okay. This is a reference to people's sexual orientation. There is no H in there for heterosexual. There's A for asexual, T for trans, B for bi, Q for queer or questioning, L for lesbian, G for gay. Those are sexual orientations that are anything other than straight, because it seems to be an issue when people aren't straight. That's why they're categorized, but that doesn't mean because they're categorized that they are all exactly the same. Well, they wouldn't have different parts of the entire, I guess, acronym or whatever if they were the same, there would just kind of be one word, wouldn't there? Being trans isn't the same thing as being gay. Being bi isn't the same thing as being gay. Questioning your sexuality isn't the same thing as being bi. And I actually mentioned some of the differences between them, but it's easy to look up. It's very easy to look up. I'm not going to sit here and educate you on stuff that it should be pretty obvious to people who are just straight that there are differences. That's why each of them have a different letter kind of representing the different category. Anyway, that's just fucking stupid. And no, atheist is again, there's some weird problem you have with categories. I think because everything falls into a strict dichotomy for you. You can look up that word later. Everything falls in a different, it's a weird separation, but it's only two categories. Everything that you think is righteous and true, and then just kind of not stuff. Like there's everything that's not, and everything Mr. Cruz thinks is true and right and just in the world. That ain't how the world works, my dude. That's not how it works. Being an atheist, you can be straight, you can be gay, you can fall under the LTGPTT crew. You can fall into one of those categories, or you're just a straight dude who just so happens to be an atheist. That doesn't, I shouldn't have to explain this. This is sad that I actually have to waste breath explaining this to you.
Nobody justifies everything evil with you. And then you want to get in these petty arguments with us about, oh, well, atheists understand morality. Really? Really now. The only thing moral about you is whether or not you take a bath.
Okay, hygiene isn't a moral issue. You should probably actually go look up what the word moral means. How about this, Mr. Cruz? I give you a little bit of something, okay? You can look up something called normative ethics, okay? Well, we won't even get into any of the branches. I won't even name them. I'm just going to mention normative ethics. The fact that you think hygiene is a moral issue tells me that you have no idea what morals actually are. I can bring up another definition to help you with that. Someone feel free to link him what normative ethics are. Maybe his ass will do some reading because he desperately needs it. But this is what I'm talking about again. You got all these opinions about everything that's going on in the world, but you are so uneducated that you have no idea how to actually categorize the things that you don't like. You don't even know how to identify them. You just know what kind of makes you angry, and you just don't you don't understand it, but it just makes you angry. That's the same type of, I guess, I can't even say logic. That's the same type of kind of responsive or reflexive, response that children give when they don't understand what's going on, and so they lash out. Yes, I'm comparing you to a child, at least how you react to some of this. Children can't sit down and say, you know what, let me use my adult cognitive faculties to figure out what's going on here instead of just responding to things. Hygiene. Think about how dumb that sounded. Hygiene. If you don't take care of yourself, that's on you. That's a bit different than whether or not you're going to steal from someone. It's a bit different from whether or not it's moral to use corporal punishment on your children. It's a bit different now. It's a bit different category. But now we're conflating health sciences and philosophy.
I'm surprised you.
So Harold says, has Mr. Cruz corrected you with any sort of evidence? No, not at all. I've asked him, hey, how about you bring some receipts? And I should probably have been more explicit. That's probably my fault. I would have loved some evidence. This dude on the YouTubes said something I like, so I agree with it. No, because I've referred him to people who are in the field, people who study these topics, and he ain't did a drop of reading at no point in time in his life, evidently. So he's not going to go and find any actual literature. You know what? Maybe Jesse Lee Peterson can wipe his ass with some toilet paper and he'll hand that to me as some literature, because that seems to be the only thing that he's good for at this point. It's just saying shit like this. Just parroting other people's views. Just parroting other people's views seems to be the norm here, because he can't actually sit down and educate himself and offer anything coherent. That's why he meanders in between these topics, politics, social issues, and then religion. And then I guess now he's getting into philosophy now. Oh, man, I can't wait to fucking learn this stuff.
Even do that. As evil as you people are. And I don't say that to be mean, but it's the truth. Let evil be evil and good be good. Woe to those who call good evil and evil good. That's what the Bible says. And it says that because everything that is happening now has already happened before.
All right, folks, punishment time.
The dumb thing about prophecy coming from the church
I'm putting them
is
on
if
normal.
God delivered us from all this stuff before, how do you know we're in the last days? Because he might deliver us again. Oh, I would love God to deliver us from this one. I think God is tired and wants to get this over with. I think he wants to bring us home. So go ahead, shoot us in the head before I sit there and I can't send my grandkids to any place because everything is all about the glory of transgenderism. Okay, and gay orientation. Okay. Again, that gay orientation thing, you really blew that all, you messed that all up. But it's okay.
So notice that he keeps saying that I've gotten something wrong, but he won't actually tell you what it is. Did anybody notice that? He won't specifically say, hey, Drag, when you mentioned that there's a high population of trans people in this area, or, well, hey, Drag, there's a, there are issues when in certain pride parades where people aren't doing their due diligence of keeping minors out of, sexually explicit scenarios. And, here are instances of, city ordinances that had to be put in place because of it. You notice he's not mentioning anything specific. He's not ever addressing anything precise at all. At all. Like, I find it amazing that he just kind of hand waves this stuff away without actually saying anything. It'd be nice if he would do that. It'd be nice if he actually provided some context to any of the stuff that he's saying. It's nice to just reference stuff that happened in Houston or stuff that happened elsewhere. I like that. At least it's something specific. I can go and I can look it up and say, you know what? You do have a point about that. They dropped the ball on that. Awesome. That needs to be fixed. And probably, henceforth, they might have some trouble booking folks now because they're going to be digging through folks' backgrounds like they should be. Awesome. Awesome. I think that they should. You should always do that. Whether or not I agree with LTGPTQQ, and all that stuff and whatnot and everything and whatnot. Awesome. Cool.
What more would I expect from an atheist? Gay orientation is not fair, or I should have called it gay indoctrination, when they had us every Friday have to show respect for homosexuals. I don't know none of these people. What if the Christians decided that if you go to certain colleges, okay, like certain colleges that were once formerly Christian belts, as they call it, okay? What if you had to go to a college and they had a religious orientation there? Now, I know you and a lot of your commentators, your fans, Dragnauct, y'all want to sit there and say, well, we've been through that. Man, get out of here. Get out.
Well, there are Christian colleges, and yeah, you do have to kind of understand that what happens on that campus is going to be really Christian based. And so there's actually, believe it or not, when I went to the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, there's a Catholic church on campus, and stuff would shut down. Like, they would stop selling meat in some cases on God, not Passover. What's the other? Damn, I forgot what it was. You know what I'm talking about. Lent. during Lent, you couldn't find fucking meat in some cases. It wasn't everywhere. In some cases, you couldn't find meat. So, I mean, there's just little stuff like that, yeah, you had to understand the sensitivities of religious folks. I mean, I would love to actually be able to buy alcohol on Sundays. That'd be nice too. But unfortunately, got a lot of religious folks here that because they don't drink, everyone else shouldn't drink either. So, yeah, I don't want to hear about that. Because what people were asking you to do is just to respect them, not to call them fucking derogatory terms, not to make any fucking jokes about them being gay. None of that stuff. None, like, that's all, because I've been through classes like that. And it's basic human decency stuff. It's not, well, if a gay man comes towards you, you should bend over and spread your cheeks in order to show him that you accept his lifestyle. It's none of that bullshit. Because think about it. Because I've heard you complain about this before, because what's funny is that these classes do exist. The racial sensitivity classes that exist that tell people the same type of thing, treat black people like everyone else, don't make fucking racial jokes. Do you have an issue with that too? I mean, you're a fan of Jesse Lee Peterson, but then you're complaining about racial discrimination. I don't understand you. According to him, racism don't exist, so that shouldn't come out your fucking mouth at any point in time. So is that bad too? Those racial sensitivity classes? Because if so, you shouldn't make not nan video about people referencing you being broken black, because that's just part of that's a part of the outfit, right? That's a part of life. That's what it is, huh? That's because I'm confused. I'm thoroughly confused now. I'm thoroughly confused. You complain about shit like this, but then how is it that you don't fucking see this? How do you not see the parallels here? How do you not see the fucking parallels? Where there's folks in one group shitting on another group because of who they are, and then using the worst examples of them as something that's emblematic of the entire group. Are you just so fucking dense that you don't see the parallels there? Like, that boggles my mind that you don't see that. It really does. And I've never understood, because this reminds me of some of the shit my own stepfather said. Some of the same shit. And I'm just like, how do you not see this? And I had to remove myself from that. This is why I went and I lived in my fucking car and went off to fucking college in a different state to get away from that nonsense. Because I can't stand being around ignorance. It bothers me. Severely bothers me to be around that sort of ignorance. Don't have a bit of fucking education to hold to your goddamn name. But I'd be damned if you got some of the sharpest opinions of anybody else around you. But I ask you to back this shit up, and all of a sudden, you start stuttering and shit. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. That shit really gets on my damn nerves. How do you not see the parallels there? If you can shit on one group like that, then guess what? People can then shit on you. Maybe if you just treat people the fucking same, maybe we could get rid of some of the issues. Possibly. Maybe if you just slightly just considered that the worst examples of folks isn't true for the population. It's this crazy thing. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't agree to being identified as somebody like Lil Wayne. I should probably, you know what? Let me not even go there. How about Big Took? Tookie Williams. Do you identify with Tookie Williams? If y'all know who that is, you should look up Tookie Williams. Is that somebody you feel comfortable being identified with? Because you mentioned earlier in the chat, Jesse Lee Peterson speaks for all black. No, the fuck he don't. I didn't vote for his ass. So, it's cool for you to identify with the people you choose. So why is it that you get to choose the worst examples of folks to represent an entire other group of people? Doesn't that just take as long as you need to think about that for a second? Let that marinate. Let that sink in.
Of here. Get out of my face with that garbage. I'm not talking about some guy. Y'all are so prejudiced. and so evil and so touchy, you'll take the fact that a guy has a class in your school to where Christians that are Christians in your school can come and have a place for themselves in your college or university. You'll call that indoctrination when you have to be invited. You have to sign up to come.
What the fuck is you talking about, dude? What in the hell are you talking about? That... What? So, hold on. There are plenty of Christian courses that people can take. Hell, even in my first university, there's Christian mysticism. There's a class literally on Christian mysticism. Nobody complains about that. People complain about mandatory classes for everybody, no matter what your major are, being forced to take Christian classes. That's when people go, okay, no, that's not how that's going to work. There are Christians I pass all the time. They're sitting out there, Jehovah's Witnesses, there's Southern Baptists, there's people at my college all the time. And I walk right past them. Or unless I feel like fucking talking to them. Nobody complains that they're there. They don't accost people. That's what people complain about. But this again tells me that you don't actually understand what's going on. You don't actually know. Because I guarantee you, if I were to challenge you, find me an example of exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Cruz. You know what? I will make an entire video recanting everything I just said. If you find me a video where there's a class being offered at a college, you have to go and sign up, or an organization or a club, whatever you want, where it's voluntary and people are complaining about it, that it shouldn't be there. There may be some super uber liberal, college that doesn't want any religion at all on its campus. If that's the case, then I will agree with you. If that's the case. But if not, because it sounds like you're just making a straw man argument. I'm pretty sure you don't know what that is, but you are.
That's different than somebody saying, everybody got to go to this class. I'm going to say it again. What if...
I'll say it again.
You went to your college or university and they said, we're going to have a orientation class every Friday for how to respect Christians and understand what it means to be a Christian.
Okay, so this will let you know, since you ain't stepped a foot in the fucking college in a while, there are actually courses like that, but they're usually for sexual harassment. They're called Title IX classes. And I have to go through them every so often, so does the staff and literally everyone else. I know how to not put my finger up someone's ass. I know how to accept a no the first time. I think it's a waste of time for me, but some people need that. Some people need that in their life, because my cousin's a cop on campus, and even without the class, even with the class, some dudes still don't understand that, you know what? This cute girl in your class that you like, when she says, aha, that's okay, leave me alone, the first 3 times, and you keep following her, and you keep tugging on her, and you keep following her different classes, that means my cousin's gonna come get your ass, and you getting booted. Even with that, people still fuck up. They still don't get it. So if there was a class, and if there was an issue on campus, just let me. Is he related to Mr. Lundy? He might as well be. Look, they look like cousins. If there was an issue where, I don't know, people all of a sudden didn't like the Southern Baptists, and anybody on campus that they knew were Southern Baptists, and it was an issue where folks were ostracizing them and I don't know, just harassing them, then fine. If it became normal for people to start harassing the Southern Baptists on campus, I don't know how they'd be identified, but whatever, then the school says, we need to stop this. We need to do something. We need to intervene. And so part of our orientation is we do not harass the Southern Baptists on campus. I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that, because they don't need to be harassed. It doesn't matter if I agree with their religion or not. They're going to school to get an education. They're not going there to get harassed. So before you presume what my position is on stuff, it's easy to ask. It's really, really easy to ask. If you want to talk to somebody from the Freedom from Religion Foundation or someone who used to work with them, I can get you in contact. It's not a problem. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. So you do a whole lot of presuming about folks and their positions, but you don't do a whole lot of thinking, a whole lot of researching and reading. That's the biggest issue I see here. You do a whole lot of that. But that's because you keep yourself cloistered in a small group of people online, a small group of people in real life. So you don't really know nothing. Nothing about nothing. You don't actually interact with these folks that you're talking about in real life. You don't actually go out of your way to learn their positions at all. So I don't feel comfortable with you espousing views about people outside your circle, your inner circle, I should say. Because it seems it's based on the past instances of you trying to mention other people and their beliefs that you get it all dicked up. And I have to spend more time correcting your misunderstandings than actually addressing the topic. That's probably why these conversations have been going so long and it just gets protracted. Because you can't stay on topic. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're casting aspersions on shit that you think that you know. And then when you try to get specific, you don't actually connect it to much of anything that you're fucking saying. But then you call yourself correcting me on something when you have no evidence and nothing to show for it, actually. Just conjecture. That's it. And the irony is you end up contradicting yourself halfway through. Hence the Catholic Crusades thing. You had to walk that back. Even with notes. That's funny to me. That's absolutely hilarious.
Then how would you feel about orientation then?
Wouldn't care.
You guys are the most pathetic people to talk about these things with. Matt Dillahunty is 100%. That's the brightest thing. I could kiss the man for saying that. We cannot have these conversations. Especially after watching this garbage right here. I'm totally pissed. I feel like I could punch a mirror right now. I mean, this is garbage, man. There ain't no way forget the Bible, just forget anything religious at all. There's no way to justify this.
Who is justifying that?
But it's natural. It's the American way.
Who said that?
This is who we are.
If y'all miss what he's referring to when there's a Houston library that hosted the drag queen, reading the kids event, whatever it was, some time ago, and they didn't do a background check on one of the participants, or a good enough background check, and that person shouldn't be around kids. The mayor actually had to issue an apology for that, and the library. So he is presuming that people accept that. That's something that you encourage, not doing background checks on people. How Mr. Cruz came to that conclusion, your guess is as good as mine. But he, for some strange reason, believes that if you don't ostracize and stigmatize trans folks, then you inherently endorse the instances where stuff crosses the line. That's well, since you endorse being a Christian, you endorse Christians molesting and robbing and raping people, right? That's how that works. So literally in the history in the last 50 years, if any Christian has done anything bad, you endorse them because you're a Christian. Oh wait, you don't? Oh wait, that shouldn't be used as a way to attack Christians? Oh, is that true, Mr. Cruz? Oh, okay.
I wonder if the Koreans are this stupid. I wonder...
Well, if you talk to the Koreans, wherever they are, then maybe you would know whether or not they think that is something that they encourage. Who is the Koreans? Where is the Koreans? The fuck says shit like that? So for some weird reason, there's a Korean consensus out there that you can defer to. What is that's just some of the most ignorant shit I ever fucking heard. That sounds like shit that my fucking stepdad would say, actually. The Koreans. Tell me where the Koreans are. Who is the Koreans? Is there a Korean bank that I need to go to, or a Korean consulate? Hello? I'm trying to talk to the Koreans. I need your opinions on something. Can you just get Kim Jong-uk and get him on the phone so I can find out y'all's opinions on this? There's a place called Houston in here in this United States, and they had some transgenders, and one of them was a child molesters, and they let that son of a gun read to them kids. What does you Koreans thinks about that? Like, what the fuck? Are you serious, dude? He had to write this shit on a goddamn envelope. You couldn't remember that? Again, I showed y'all my screen. I don't have any of this stuff up. I just read the article and just fucking remembered it. Like, Jesus. Transgender gets mad at GameStop employee for calling him a dude. Child sex offender is allowed to read at a drag queen story time in Houston. Those are two separate articles. Like, come on. Like, you had to write that down? You couldn't just remember? But then again, your mind tends to wander, so I'm glad you wrote that down. That just seems like a waste, but okay. But my God. It is amazing how remedial this conversation has gotten over the past 3 days. It is amazing to me. It's like, it's almost mind-blowing. Because this is the guy that we're supposed to... He went to collage. Yeah, he went to collage. I was wondering why you guys were saying collage. And then I saw him in the chat. He was like, I didn't go to collage. Well, obviously you didn't go to collage. You mean college, my dude? It's quite obvious from that you didn't go to collage. But he's angry. I gotta talk to the Koreans to see what they think. Well, who's in this chat? I see a Albedi Iluji. Can you tell me what the Chinese think about this? Abodi Eulogy. Can you tell me what all you Chinese think about this? Where's as one of them Norwegians in here, can you tell me what you all think about this? Some of you Norwegians in here. Some of you Australians too. Yeah, some of you Australians, like 3 of y'all Australians. Can y'all tell me, since y'all ain't real, what y'all thinks about this? What kind of ignorant shit is that? Really? Really?
If the Chinese or the Japanese are this stupid.
Look, I forgot that he deferred to just random. I need the opinion of just random Asian groups, right? Matter of fact, where's Arn Raw's wife? She's half Vietnamese. Can you, Mrs. Raw, can you tell me what you Vietnameses think about this? Get the fuck out of here, man.
What's his name? Jong or whatever it is, King Jong Hong or whatever his freaking name is. Okay? I tell you what. If I find out that they don't practice this garbage in Korea, even though he's a crazy SOB, I might move to Korea. Donald Trump can't get this crap straight.
So, folks, he might move to North Korea. Sit down, take a sip of fucking coffee, and think about what the fuck he just said. He might move to North Korea. I don't know about you, but something tells me he might have a problem with that. I'm just guessing. I'm just going to throw a wild guess as to why he might have a problem immigrating to North Korea. I'm just nobody tell him. No, don't put nothing in the chat. Nobody tell him why that's going to be a problem. Excuse me, the multitude of reasons why that's a problem. Who is that? Oh, I know who that is. 37VQV. Yes. Appreciate it. I'll see you later this week, my dude. But, my God. But think about it, folks. Think about this. This is a dude, I'm just going to pause this for a second. Oh, that was delayed. I want y'all to think about something for a second. This is a dude commenting on political issues. he doesn't even know why he can't immigrate to North Korea. But he wants you to believe that he's knowledgeable on political issues. Of all the rudimentary things to consider in the grand scheme of any political conversation, literally one of the most uncontroversial points is why America doesn't fuck with North Korea. The multitude of reasons why we are hostile nations. And he doesn't seem to realize that. If that doesn't let y'all know really where he is on the spectrum of knowledge when it comes to politics, I don't know what does. That's like him saying he's gonna. I really wish he would have said like move to the USSR. Like that. I think that would have topped him saying that. If he would have said I'm gonna go to the USSR because they don't stand for this stuff. Like that would have been I think the only thing at least I could imagine him saying that would have topped that, because that was just patently fucking stupid. Maybe Mr. Cruz, you might want to look up why you can't move to North Korea. Or you know what, just why you wouldn't want to move to North Korea. We'll start there, and then we'll go from why you actually can't. So anyway, let me continue.
Hey, maybe I don't want to be. Maybe once Donald Trump steps out of office, maybe I'll move to Korea.
Okay, you do know that there's a North and there's a South Korea, right? There's one of those you can go to and one of those you kind of can't. But then again, I don't know. Oh, speaking of Korea, today's proceeds, folks, go to Mrs. Dragnauct's Korean barbecue fee. The Korean place that's down the street from Xavier is brand new and it's very tasty, and it's fucking expensive. So there you go.
I don't think they do this stuff.
They definitely have trans people in South Korea.
This is all about making America something that it never was before. And it's not about race. And it's not about us. It's about the Antichrist. It's about paganism.
Paganism.
And it's going to run everything. You think that we're talking all these different things. No, there's only two kinds of people in the world, Dragnauct.
Remember when I told you he lives in simple dichotomies? This is what I'm talking about. Like he views the world in black and white. It's so sad to be that old and not understand that the world is actually shades of gray. That I said this earlier. He's a lot like, that's why he identifies with G-Man. Everything's simple to him. Well, you know what, Mr. Cruz? I've learned this growing up and being around simple people. The world is simple to simpletons. The world is complex to those who can think. If you ever been around anybody who is worth their weight in salt, people who have traveled, who've actually met folks who've gone outside the country, outside their state, lived in multiple areas and been around people who differ from them, you'll know that those people benefit from a wealth of knowledge, and that the world to them isn't a simple dichotomy. But the people who have kept themselves cloistered in one area or very few areas and not around people who disagree with them, they see the world very simply because they don't have that type of exposure. They don't have that type of knowledge to understand the shades of gray. So they have to make the world simple in order for it to make sense. As much as you talk about people dumbing down the world, Mr. Cruz, I think you need to look in the mirror. I think you really need to take a long, hard look in the mirror on that. Because if you really think that what you're saying to people is going to really impact them, especially people who know just a little bit, not even folks who have all these degrees and all these skills and trades and all this other kind of stuff and travel. This has nothing to do with that, really. It's the fact that you don't do your due diligence when you're espousing your own views. But somehow we all need to intuit what you're saying, be as charitable as possible, and then fill in the gaps because you're either too inept or lazy to do so yourself. Essentially, everyone has to dumb themselves down to your level in order to believe the stuff that you're saying. I'm not about that life. Can't say that I am. Can't say that I am. Because I'm going to change my position on anything. Just to give you a bit of feedback on who I am as a person, most of my views are provisional. Absolutely. If there's scientific evidence that, you know what, all of a sudden transgender mindset, that's just a weird aberration. It's a weird genetic anomaly that causes this. And then we found a way to fix it. You know what? It'd be a hard truth to swallow. And that's I'm being hypothetical, folks. I don't follow transgender genetics or anything. I'm not sure if that's the thing. I'm giving a scenario. That's going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people who are progressive, a lot of people who are liberals, and you're going to get some feedback. I'll say that feedback from that. But as it stands, you know what? Still being researched on how this whole thing happens. But where I stand from a social perspective is that I'm going to treat people with the same respect I give other people. And I think if I start there, and most people start there, then I think folks will be okay overall. Just saying. That's just me. I don't find it an issue if I'm going to a job and there's somebody who's trained, whether they're passing or not is irrelevant. You know what? People who can't transition that well and they're kind of late in life, you know what? They may look a little funny. But I know a lot of people who are straight, who have families who are ugly as shit. And I deal with them. So guess what? I can deal with that other person too.
Those that follow the Lord and those that don't. And eventually, the only thing that's making everybody think that they have all these different levels of all these different people is money. But initially, there's only two kinds of people in the world. Those that follow the Lord and those that don't. And I never said gay recruiter. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I'm not.
He never said gay recruiter. He just mentioned that there are people who are going around indoctrinating folks into this lifestyle. Let me just to make sure that I'm not tripping, folks. Because I offered a summation of his long and drawn out diatribe here. So just to make sure, to enlist for service in one of the armed forces, to raise a force by enlistment, to strengthen a supply, this is getting armed forces, to furnish or replenish fresh supply, to restore, to attempt to acquire services for an employer, to attempt to enroll or enlist, and a campaign to recruit new club members, to seek to enroll at a school or a college. So it looks like, let's see, number 10 would be applicable here. To attempt to enroll or enlist a member, affiliate, student, or the like. So it sounded like, it sounded a lot like you were saying that there are people who are in the LGBTQ community who are going out there and recruiting people. I know you didn't use that word. As G-Man says, I'm paraphrasing. Because if you're not saying that there are agents out there spreading the... I'm curious though, who are the people putting the propaganda out if they are not trying to... It's such a strange point to make. That's such a really strange point to make. So explain this to me, Mr. Cruz. Maybe you can make a separate, shorter video. How does one put out propaganda in an effort to sway the minds of people to get them on board with a group, an ideology? What are those people called then? I'm curious, because if you don't want to call them recruiters, then are they just propaganda agents? Or are they just agents generally? Whatever you want to call them, that's fine with me. The point is, the people that draw your ire, that are helping this ideology or lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, to proliferate. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And it's funny you talk about reading between the lines, and it seems like you struggle with that yourself now, because the context in which I mentioned that was pretty clear, pretty darn clear.
I'm not going to be able to get it all in here. I'm done talking about this for tonight already. I'm going to tell you another thing. You say one thing, but your comment section says another. This is the same problem I had with other atheists that claim...
Wait. Oh my. So I say one thing in my comment section says, do you know that these aren't my fucking sock accounts? These are all separate goddamn people. Mr. Cruz, I really have to ask, did you like take any remedial classes growing up? Like this is absolutely fucking stupid. Well, no shit, my comment section says something different. There are people in like other goddamn countries. There's motherfuckers in Australia, in China, in goddamn Norway. There's people from all over the goddamn globe. Obviously, they're gonna say, because they're different fucking people. What about that is strange? I don't have 50 computers and I'm sitting here typing to myself. Obviously, there's people here who disagree with me a lot. Every day. And that's fine with me. I want that. They're going to have their own goddamn opinions. Because guess what? They're grown. Most of them are fucking grown. I just looked at my analytics yesterday. I put up a picture of it. Seem to have a lot of people between the ages of like 25 and like 35. For whatever reason, this is a big spike. Actually, I think it was like 25 and 40. And then there's a few folks who are like 44 and up. These are grown folks from different parts of the goddamn world. Different parts of the U.S. Yes, my comment section says something different because they have opinions about the stupid shit that you say. They might catch something that I don't catch. They might feel differently than I do. Obviously, because they're grown. What about that is confusing? I don't like. Did you really sit down and write that? Like, you have got to be kidding me. Of all this is my problem with you. No, I don't speak for these folks. I speak for Dragnauct. They may or may not agree with me. No one's obligated to agree with me. There is no atheist or orthodoxy, or there's no monolithic atheism, whatever. Like, come on. You can't be this dense. You can't be this obtuse. You really can't be. Please, I'm trying my best, even with the Catholic Crusades nonsense. I'm trying so I'm holding hope that you are not this goddamn dumb. Please. For the love of all that is black and unholy, please tell me that you're being facetious. My God, that had to be the dumbest thing I've heard. It's not even 12 o'clock and I've already filled my stupid capacity. I'm right here at it. Your comment section says something different. Well, no shit. Maybe a motherfucker in Norway scratching his balls on the goddamn toilet thinks something different of you than I do. Who would have ever fucking thunk it? Really? Really? Maybe the guy sitting in a bank in Australia said, you know what? I don't like him. Fuck you and your mama and a pussy stinks. I don't know. I don't speak for them. I'm not in everybody's head. You have this huge issue. A huge issue with generalizing people. I am not them. They are not me. Some of them share something in common with me. Some of them don't believe in a God. Some of them feel strong about it. Some of them don't. Some of them despise religion. Some of them don't. It's not a monolith. Go look up that motherfucking word for me. If you don't do anything from this video, go look up the word monolith. 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 Go look up that word. That's not what we are. So quit that, just quit it. That's annoying. If you're wondering why you don't have great conversation with people, it's because you got all these weird conceptions in your head. And I'm not talking about obviously you and I disagree on political and social whatever issues. That's fine. That's separate. You need to separate that from the fact that your conception of groups of people is wrong. And so, well, what you mean, Dragnauct? You just said that you disagree with me on these issues. Yes, the individual issues surrounding some of the groups. I'm talking about how you generalize the group of folks. There are trans people who would actually agree with a lot of what you're saying. You mentioned one, Bruce Jenner. Caitlyn, as she wants to be known. So you can't sit here and say, well, these people think, if you know that there are divisions within that group, because that makes you dishonest. That makes you wholeheartedly dishonest. That's called a generalization. Would you like to be generalized with the Westboro Baptist Church? You want to throw them in there too? You sure enough had sense enough to separate yourself from Catholics, but for some reason you can't see the divisions between groups of people who draw your ire. That's so weird to me. My God, dude, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's not. It's really, really not. But somebody of your venerable age, I would expect that you at least acknowledge that. At least try to appear to be impartial about it. But you're not even making a tip. You watch a YouTube video and get, oh man, you get all fucking huffed up and it's just erratic. Full of fucking victimhood and spite and anger because you watched a goddamn YouTube video. Go look up Townsend's and Sons. It's a great YouTube channel. They do all types of cooking from the 17th, 18th, and 19th century. Very good recipes. They do Civil War reenactments, all kinds of stuff. Very relaxing channel. I would suggest you go watch something like that to add some levity to your life. Maybe go on the PS4 and play some Roblox or something. I don't know. Because it's obvious that this whole YouTube stuff has kind of got you worked up. Just a little bit.
To be peaceful atheists. It's kind of like you got peaceful Muslims. And then you got these terrorists. And the peaceful Muslims always defend the terrorists. And then you want to sit there and hate somebody because they sound like they hate all Muslims. Okay? But your people on the comments section, they love to hear you show any honesty. Oh, I had a daughter that was gay. Oh, we got him. We got him. Oh, I put on a wig one day and put on some lipstick one day and I found out I didn't want to be transgender. We got him. We got him.
What did y'all say to him? What the fuck did y'all say to him? What the? Y'all done pissed Grandpa off and now he's mad. Hold on. I think it should be this one. What did y'all say? Oh, of course, Cable Eastwood. Of course, you in there. Okay, that's Shanny. You know, you should know about that word. Machete. Oh. Maybe it's not this video. Very rude delete comments. Oh. Uh-oh. Brian Harris correcting him. You should know better than that. Evidently, he's deleting videos. Or not deleting, deleting comments. Oh. Y'all said something to make him mad. Yeah. Yep, he's deleting comments. Yeah, this is something that I kind of expect from folks who just live in their own bubble. They can't stand people who know more than them and people who are well versed on topics, or at least more well versed on topics. That's kind of redundant. More well versed on topics than they are. Hearing opinions and people provide evidence and facts, they're not used to that. They're used to just hearing conjecture. But, you know.
And you want to say the Christians aren't merciful. If a Christian feels that that's too close to home or too private or too gay for him, he'll tell me. He'll say, don't say that. You're scaring me, man. Don't say that. Let's move on. I don't understand that. Let's move on. No, you people. Oh, it's entertaining. Oh, yes. Bravo, Mr. Cruz. Bravo, Mr. Cruz. Come on. Say more. And the whole I'm looking at you live. This whole thread is all about calling me gay. Is that what you did to G-Man?
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You presumed my wife was trans You presume that I was trans and I was gay, but you're upset when other people do it to you. When you talk about putting on a wig and dancing around and enjoying it and encouraging folks to do it when you were growing up, and that even you yourself said that, you know, smoking weed was one of the catalysts that led your own daughter to being gay. So people put two and two together, and even I said this. It's like, it's weird. You said your daughter followed a similar pathway that you did, but you had intervention, but somehow she didn't, so she wound up gay. So without that intervention, you would have been gay. So it's like you missed the bus almost on that route, and then people are kind of side-eyeing you because this is the scenario that you put forward, and people just can't believe that. The fact, let me just be honest, you're projecting. Like, it's me and quite a few others see that you're projecting a lot, and that's what it is. And you're upset, and like I said, I think it's funny that you call me gay and trans and all this other kind. I think it's hilarious because I know what I am, right? I have no problem. I'm pretty doggone straight, if I have to say so myself. Pretty straight. Matter of fact, I'm still waiting on some titty pictures I'm owed. But the fact that you get upset about it really at least tells me that there's something underneath the surface that's upsetting you, that people are kind of starting to realize something that you don't want people to realize. Like, because again, you can presume a whole the hell lot about me and my family, but then when people presume stuff about you, then it becomes a huge issue. I wonder why that is. Because notice, you can look at my face. I start laughing when you start saying that I'm gay and I'm trans and this. I think it's hilarious. I want you to keep doing it. I don't want your titty pictures tatted.
Is that what you did, G-Man? Was he really gay, or did you call him gay?
People saw him touching me. I don't know how much gayer you can get unless you want a video of his mouth around my dick. I'm pretty sure when he starts doing gay shit, like touching me every video that he's ever been in with me and rubbing on me, and then doing weird stuff like, ew, I would never date Dragnauct. Ew, I can't even think of touching a man. Ew, 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 ew. Dragnauct loves me. Dragnauct loves me not. Dragnauct loves me. Dragnauct loves me not. I'm sorry. But again, we've shown you some of these videos of him threatening. Do you want me to show you some more videos of him doing some weird shit like that? Because we got him. We got him. He's only upset because not only have we noticed that you even said it yourself, the Black Hebrew Israelites, they said it. Because he used to go over there and start touching and rubbing on them too, and rubbing on their stomach, and one of them got mad and pushed him. His own Christian brothers had to tell him to stop touching dudes. So, look, call a spade a spade. As much as you want to talk about gay folks, y'all some gay shit.
Do you have evidence, video footage of him rubbing your belly, as you call it?
Not rubbing my belly.
I really, unless you got video footage to prove it, I really don't give a rat's behind about these Hebrew Israelites. They're liars anyway.
Oh, okay.
Of course, they don't lie as much as you do.
Oh, okay. Now I'm lying.
Not only you, but your people.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, my people.
You
My
got
people.
liars, manipulators. You have indoctrinators.
Indoctrinators. They're not recruiters. They're indoctrinators.
Can't see straight. Trying to show this arrogant pride as if they got it all together when we know good and well they don't.
What do you know then, Mr. Cruz? What do you know? Tell me what you know about folks.
I never said gay recruiter. Stop putting words in my mouth.
Gay promoter. I'll say that. Does promoter
I said
work?
it the way I meant it because I know what I'm talking about.
You know what you're talking about, but you don't have any evidence for any of this stuff. Like, you know that one thing. I think it's funny that you think you know what you're talking about. I would like to see some evidence for this, because all we've heard are these tangential stories that kind of sort of have something to do with the topic, but you give us a snippet of what actually happened. But you can go on at length about Pookie and them went to the carnival and they had on jeans and it was too hot for that, and so you know what, they told you they didn't want to shave the legs, so you didn't want to wear shorts and all this shit that doesn't matter. You'll go on at length about that, but the actual narratives that you want to tie into this, whatever this is, you don't want to give any real detail on, which I find interesting, nor do you want to give any actual evidence for a lot of claims you make, like all of us atheists being liars and Black Hebrew Israelites being liars. I'm pretty sure that you can find people who lie within all the groups, and Christian too, but how's that is there any significant difference between Christian liars and Black Hebrew Israelite liars? How did you determine that? Again, evidence. Like, I would like to see some evidence, because it's just you making claims. You making more claims isn't evidence for the previous claim. That's not how that works.
And last but not least, every Christian watches secular television. Now, if I was to judge you for watching secular television, you'd say something dumb like, well, you need to watch more secular television. You might learn something. Or you'd say something like, what's wrong with watching secular television? What's wrong with watching porn?
Secular. Yeah. Well, but just to let you know, I don't really watch no secular TV. The only thing that I watch is really the Netflix. I'm not a huge, big old TV watcher. The only thing that I watch on TV are reruns of River Monsters. If you actually wanted to know, that's the only. I don't sit down and watch TV like that at all. I may watch some Netflix every so often or some Hulu, but I ain't no TV dude. I ain't sat down and watched TV in forever. And like I said, that's the only thing I'm watching is like River Monsters. So if you want to get educated, there are these places called colleges and universities that you go to. And these things called books that you read and gain information. Or they have scientific studies out there, different kind of journals that you can read. But, that's too much. So I'm not even going to put that out there.
That is your, because you couldn't come up with a better argument for me watching The Punisher and learning and seeing subliminal messages in movies. You're going to tell me, you're going to judge me as a Christian for watching an R-rated movie? All Christians watch R-rated movies.
Well, if you are not of the world, why are you partaking in media that's part of the world? I'm trying to understand. On the one hand, this is so weird. So he's upset with being indoctrinated into like things that are ungodly. But how exactly is the Punisher like a symbol of Christian values? So it's okay for you to partake in things that aren't of Christ, but it's not okay for others to do so. That's cool, Mr. Cruz. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. No one forces you to watch that. There are plenty of Christians who say, you know what, I don't do TV. I don't do Netflix. I read the motherfucking Bible. They won't say motherfucking, but you get my point. They'll watch VeggieTales, or they'll watch the 900 show. I don't know, whatever. There are plenty of people who don't even do social media. Don't do any type of media. I mean, you can't sit here and be upset when people kind of point out your hypocrisy. When what about that show is I guess cool for Christians to latch onto? What about that? Is that's not a Christian show? So you're getting influenced by stuff, but then complaining about people influencing you. So it's do as I say, not as I do. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You're talking about all these influences and these spiritual battles, but watching a dude go out and kill folks, that's of God. That's cool. So LGBTQ, that's bad. But killing people because you have a vendetta, that's awesome. That's something that Mr. Cruz endorses for Christians to watch. Okay. All right.
Now, I watch anything if it has a good ring to it. I'll watch anything once. Half the stuff I watch, I won't watch twice. I got movies over there. I got over 100 movies that I bought from the exchange over there because I felt that they were hits. I felt they were good movies. Okay?
But the ones that I watch on Netflix, YouTube, or cable TV.
Oh, if he bought them at the exchange, he may have served. So, I don't know.
I watch them one time, and if I like them, I'll go out and buy them. Whether they're rated R or PG or you name it. And a lot of times you may know from a preview what's in a movie before you watch it. Now, Christians love to watch movies that are representing good versus evil. We like the superhero stuff. We like the police movies. I love Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. I like, what am I watching right now? NCIS. I watch NCIS. I'm watching a series. I just got done watching a sci-fi series. Okay? And I'll be honest with you. In closing, a lot of the movies a lot of the reasons the biggest reason why we watch secular television, even if it's R-rated, is because a lot of Christian movies suck. Because nobody lives a life every day to where, we're having lullabies in church. It doesn't work that way. We're fighting against good and evil. We walk out every day. We meet women that don't look like the women in our church. We meet men who we thank God that they got more muscle than the men in our church. We meet doctors and lawyers and nurses and all this stuff. And you cannot be rich and highly educated without there being a scandal somewhere in there, sometimes. Life does not work on lullabies. God never promised us a rose garden. Now, maybe I should get used to watching a lot more Christian movies and less secular movies, because...
Is anybody else kind of confused where he's going with this line of thought? Like, is anybody else just kind of like, okay, Grandpa, get to the point?
We ain't gonna be watching those secular movies up in glory. Just like we ain't gonna be having any sexual orientation up in glory. So how the heck, I'm gonna say it again, how the heck can anybody fight over LGBTQ when, and you're so full of it, man. If you're not having gay sex, you cannot call yourself gay. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. You cannot call yourself gay without having gay sex. That's the dumbest cop-out I've ever heard you say. Well, you're looking at what people are doing in the bedroom. That ain't got nothing to do with being gay. Man, come on, man. Come on now. Okay, get out of here. You're making excuses. Okay, and you're going against science. You're going against...
Okay, so here we are again with this point, and it's interesting. So let me make this point to you. So, Mr. Cruz, if somebody, let's say, catches you in an alleyway and sticks their penis in your ass, you've just committed an act of gay sex, correct? So because you've now committed an act of gay sex, you are now gay. Because under your criteria, if you participate in a gay act, consensual or not, hey, you know what? That's gay. Doesn't matter if you're actually attracted to the same sex or not, because that's what it's all about, just the sex. So just for shits and giggles, just to kind of prove a point that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now, I didn't say that sex had nothing to do with it. the point that I was making is that you are focused solely on the sex. Yes, obviously you have sex with people that you tend to be attracted to. If it's the same sex, it's the same sex. If it's opposite sex, whatever. So we can look, very simple definition here. Not hard. Homosexual, a person who's sexually attracted to people of one's own sex. Does it say must put dick in the booty? Does it say must eat snatch? No, it doesn't at all. Whatsoever. I'm not sure how this is a controversial point. You do know that there are people, and some of us actually knew somebody who was a lesbian and who was celibate. You don't have to have sex, Mr. Cruz. Again, let me repeat that. We actually had someone in the community who recently passed. Well, I say recent, about a year ago, she passed away. But she was a lesbian, and she was celibate. She was a Christian woman. Well, Catholic. I guess that's not Christian to you. So now you think about that for a second and take all the time you need, Mr. Cruz, because I see that I need visual aids to kind of help you out. Now, I just pulled up the basic definition of what a homosexual is. And this, again, this is such a non-point that this is your hill to die on, so I'll be happy to educate you. I'll be more than happy to educate you. Now, you tell me where in anything that you see on the screen right now, Mr. Cruz, that it says that you have to have sex. Does it describe sex as an act? Not your biological sex. Not male, female. The act of coitus. The act of cunnilingus, analingus. Do you see anything about that? Because it does say the word sex, but it has a specific context. Thank you, I'm sorry, Wilson. Uncle Ruckus hasn't been the same since the stroke. I see that. I'll read the definition again. Person who is sexually attracted to people of their own sex. It's that simple. So, I'm going to let you finish this out, Mr. Cruz. I'll save my last piece because I've been talking for too long. This has been interesting. I can't wait to sit and listen to your next tirade. Evidently, you're through with me. We'll see about that.
You're going against everything to get up, talk about what you know. Don't talk
Irony.
Trash. Okay, when you just simply don't have an answer.
A lot of irony
Please.
here, folks.
But I'm done. I really want to get direct. All this is coming out of one video that you did where you was just spitting. I can't believe it. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I see why a lot of my Christian friends, I said this in a video, I did a video series on this. I see why a lot of my Christian friends don't argue with atheists because I got it right here. I got it right here. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I'll save it for the end. I'll save.
This is one video that you did. I'm still trying to explain the ABCs of life to you, man, because you don't get it. Okay? Life did not start from a big bang. It did not start by an atheist. It started in the Christian community. The first scientists were very religious people. Okay? And the first people who corrected these very religious people were Christians. That's another video. But we can't have these conversations. I'm going to finish this. I'm done with you. God bless you, brother. Enjoy.
Oh my God, it's a whole lot of fucking stupid. Whole lot of stupid there. Oh my goodness. Let me remove this shit and put it back over here. That, folks, was painful. Absolutely fucking painful. Like, I'm not even sure how to really go about addressing that in a way that just, wow. Uh-oh, Streamlabs froze. Everything's freezing. It's going dark. Everything's going dark. Anyway. Wow. So, Mr. Cruz, I would like you to first show me where I said that having a registered sex offender, in front of children was a good idea. Please find me the timestamp, point me towards a video where I specifically said that in any way, shape, or form. Now, saying that, you know what, I'm not going to treat trans people differently was not, that was not to be somehow then taken to, oh, okay, well, anybody of any walk of life or any criminal status, they're okay by me. I'm not sure how you jump from, I generally want to treat people the same, to everyone and everything that they do is somehow absolutely acceptable. Well, obviously, you treat all Christians the same, well, from your own admission, but the ones who are criminal, you just overlook that? Or do you have a bit of discernment and go, even though this guy's a Christian, I'm going to keep my distance because he's a criminal and he has a past? So, again, this is a little bit of intellectual dishonesty on your part, but I'm not surprised. It's very interesting to me that for somebody who calls himself a life application officer, you know very little about these topics. In fact, you think about something for a second, Mr. Cruz. I can respond to a lot of your videos, actually any of your videos. I don't need notes. You do. The fact that you can't actually have a linear stream of consciousness kind of tells me how fragmented your mind actually is, right? That's why the people who you see commenting can't really follow you, because you meander in and out of categories all the time. You can't actually stay on one topic. You don't actually know enough to stay on one topic. And even when you try to get in the minutia of what some of these things are, you still screw up the definition. Even worse, you still begin to generalize, and then you get upset with the generalization that you have. But the frustration, Mr. Cruz, comes from the fact that you know very little in comparison to the people that you talk to. That's the frustrating part. That's because people can smell that insecurity on most folks they speak to. It's quite clear you know very little about these topics. You watch a freaking YouTube video, and then all of a sudden you become knowledgeable enough and indignant to then cast aspersions towards whoever you want to. Well, cool, I can cast aspersions towards anyone while being ignorant. That's not a skill. That's not a talent. That's just you being ignorant. Like, it's sad, obviously. It's really, really sad that while you are trying to teach someone in ABCs, you can barely pronounce half the shit that you're trying to say. You don't actually understand what homosexuality is, because for some strange reason, it solely revolves around sex, which is, again, is not true. There's this thing called celibacy. A lot of us, again, have known somebody who had passed, who was a homosexual, yes, but was celibate. You didn't have sex. That's kind of the opposite of being celibate. But again, you weren't privy to that, so that's fine. But most folks could have easily gone to a dictionary at any point in time, or even better, actually spoken to other people who they disagree with. I know that's a hard thing for you, because the frustrations that you express, again, have nothing to do with anyone being obtuse or anyone else being difficult. It's the fact that you don't know enough about these topics to speak on them intelligently. You're just repeating things you heard other people say. Well, I was listening to the conservative twins. How about you listen to some go fucking read something? How about you listen to, let me go actually talk to some folks who study this stuff. Let me go talk to some social psychologists. Let me go read some of their work. Let me go actually talk to some of these queers outside of my circle. Let me go actually discuss some things, because you won't do that. But one thing, because you're too fucking lazy, honestly. See, I can get indignant too, Mr. Cruz, but I pick and choose when I want to. I can get indignant, I can get ignorant, I can get all 50 shades of black. But I don't feel the need to. Because just because I see something on the YouTubes doesn't incite my anger. But guess what? Shit happens every day. It's another day in the fucking neighborhood. Do I agree with the random instance? Because I'm pretty sure I can look up something in your neck of the woods by some retarded ass Christian and just start getting all mad. Look at what these Christians are doing. But I know that one Christian doesn't represent all Christians. I know that. It's called being intellectually honest. Because you have a huge problem with generalizations. You have a huge problem with actually looking up and looking into what people actually believe. Because for some reason, being a simpleton causes one to view the world in a strict dichotomy. You might want to fix that. Your frustrations come from the fact that you're ignorant, wholly ignorant about politics, about social issues, and hell, about religion, especially about science. I purposely avoided the science topic because I had to do more teaching to you than discussing. And I noticed you mentioned it at the end. Physics isn't my background, but you somehow conflated abiogenesis and Big Bang and everything else like every other person does. Well, that's fine. But again, if you really, really want to draw my ire, sure, let's talk about the very little science you think you know. Please direct us to what YouTube video you found on that. Meanwhile, I can recommend some pretty good textbooks for you and some pretty good studies that your ass could probably use, as real evidence or study material, whatever you want to call it. Shout out Sean Ranklin. It's almost as he's looking for attention, yeah. So, all right, folks, I've had my fill of stupid. I may or may not review this. What is this fucking video here? And I part ways. I'll probably listen to it, may respond to it later. Oh man, look at all these comments. Dragnauct needs to come back to the plantation. He think him smart with that book knowledge. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so on that note, folks, I'm gonna head out. It's been fun. Thank you. If y'all like these exchanges, y'all like watching this, then you know what? Spread them, share them on tweeters, on the Reddits and the Facebooks and all that kind of bullshit. So, you don't want my suckler propaganda? Well, that's awesome. So, all right, folks. Y'all have a good day now you're here. Go do some of that book learning.